Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Black power.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today is Friday, March 31st, 2023. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. The countdown to the perp walk has begun. Donald Trump faces, according to CNN, 34 fraud-related charges as the New York grand jury indicted him on charges connected to hush money. But also, again, the indictment has not been unsealed. We don't even exactly know what the indictments are. We'll break all of these things down and also show you the whining from Republicans. And wait until we show you Stephen from Django Unchained. I mean, Jason Whitlock on Tucker Carlson, just really with his complaining. It's also a power grab in Wisconsin, folks. Again, first of all, if Democrats win the state Supreme Court seat in the election on Tuesday, they would have the majority on the courts. Black vote is going to be critical. We'll talk to a group that's on the ground trying to turn out black voters. Also, folks, on today's show, a FAMU graduate becomes Vanderbilt University's neurosurgery residency program's first black woman resident in 148 years. We'll talk with her right here on the show. Plus, Vice President Kamala Harris has been in Africa on a historic mission to strengthen democracy. We'll show you her stop in Zambia and what she had to say when they asked her about Trump's indictment. That and more. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling.
All right, folks, it has been hilarious the last 24 hours watching Republicans in a tizzy over the indictment of Donald Trump yesterday by a New York grand jury. Now, what he has been indicted for, we do not know. There's speculation is tied to Stormy Daniels. CNN is reporting it's 34 different charges. We don't know that as well. Of course, based upon what we've seen reporting, Trump may very well be turned in on Tuesday. Secret Service has to bring him from Florida. There have been coordination between the Secret Service and the office of Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. And so we don't have any of those details. What we do know is he has been indicted. And so the question is, what does this mean? Joining us right now is William Roberts, the Managing Director for Democracy Policy, the Center for American Progress. My panel, Michael Imhotep, host of the African History Network show, Kelly Bethea, communication strategist, Xavier Pope, host of Suit Up News, owner of the Pope Law Firm. Glad to have everyone here. William, I'm going to start with you. Here's the thing that I find to be incredulous. All of these people are look, conservatives, even some Democrats. Oh my God, the country is, what does this mean for America? The first, former president, ever indicted. Shall we say what has happened in other countries? We can literally run off a litany of former presidents and prime ministers in other countries around the world who have been indicted, who have been charged, who have been convicted, who have gone to prison. So this notion that, oh my goodness, the nation is just shocked and stunned. I'm sorry. I talked to a lot of people today. They were carrying on with their lives. It's not that big of a deal.
Exactly. To your point, I mean, this is, if anything, this underscores that there's life left in the justice system, right? That the notion that no one is above the law in America or should be does extend to, former presidents who we know have a litany of wrongdoing in their past. And so you were right that the system is not going to break down. And that has been a lot of the messaging, particularly on the right, and was forecasted, right, before these indictments and some other investigations that Trump is facing, that, if we bring him up on charges, that's going to signal some kind of death knell for American democracy or show that these are political prosecutions. Nothing could be farther from the truth.
And same thing. Van Jones made a comment on CNN. Oh, he felt that Fannie Willis in Georgia should indict first. You've got Bill Maher. Oh, my goodness, this is going to strengthen him. This is going to make his people upset and angry, and they're going to be all hot and bothered. Then the Washington Post today had a editorial that, I just thought, to me, was just stupid because, they asserted that, this is not necessarily, the right case. It's not a strong case. I'm sorry. Can you show me where in the justice system we now have rankings on what's, strong, medium, light? And therefore, that determines. And essentially what they're saying is, because he's a former president, it has to be this unbelievably, strong, airtight case. Wasn't Al Capone convicted for tax evasion and not murder? Right. Haven't other individuals who've been involved in heinous crimes, they've actually gone to jail on lesser charges? Right.
Yeah, I think you're right that first everybody's got to take a deep breath, right? These are, you mentioned the Fannie Willis investigation down in Fulton County. That's an independent, prosecutorial investigation into other charges, right? Stemming in other allegations and activities stemming from Trump's efforts to overturn the election, right? And the famous Brad Raffensperger, find me 11,780 votes call. That's a separate investigation, also separate, right, from the special counsel Jack Smith investigation, which is looking at the broad range of January 6th related the crimes related to the January 6th attack, and also investigations of Trump's activities to overturn the election everywhere, right? And so the notion that one case going before the others strengthens or weakens the other, I think is a fraught one, because these are independent investigations. Your point is correct that, you bring charges when cases are ready to be brought, right? And so we know the clock and the timeline that's going on in Georgia. But, it is, again, it's a simple notion, but like the fact that no one is above the law has to mean something. And for so long, I think we've been used to Donald Trump getting away with, the saying the quiet part out loud and doing misdeeds in front of our face without seeing him, get accountability. And so I think that the justice system is moving the way it's supposed to be moving. Folks have got to take a deep breath, see what happens, as you said, with these up to 34 counts that are going to be unveiled on Tuesday. And this case is going to take its course in New York, just like the other ones are.
Like, here's the headline of the Washington Post. Go to my iPad. The Trump indictment is a poor test case for prosecuting a former president. Test case? What the hell? And then they go on to say in here, first of all, again, the Washington Post is assuming they know why he's been indicted. And I kept saying this here. All these people who were going off, this was a misdemeanor, now being raised to a felony. No one knows why he's been indicted. It could be tied to the case that Letitia James brought against him, corruption, tax evasion. We have no idea. But again, going through this here. They go, falsifying records in this way is usually a misdemeanor in New York, but it was done to cover up another crime. It could turn into a felony. The idea here is that the hush money payment constituted an improper political donation because it benefited Mr. Trump so close to the election. And then they go on and on and on. And then they talk about the strategy is novel. Well, let's keep in mind, John Edwards, United States Senator, went to trial for hush money. This ain't new. Okay, it's not new. And then you go on here and they're complaining about breaches of campaign finance law, undermines democracy and deserves to be taken seriously. Yet the potential, this is what I need you to, yet the potential downsides of indicting Mr. Trump ought to be taken seriously too. What the hell is the downside? He either shows he's innocent or they find him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Here's the projecting that I'm bothered with. This could split the country. Already split. Just check the last 6 presidential elections. And this is just grave because, it's flimsy and another prosecutor down the road could do the same thing against Biden or some other Democrat. Well, if a Democrat broke the law, then you should pay the penalty. That's why it's called, above the Supreme Court, the sign says equal justice under law.
Exactly right. One should not prejudge what's in there, right? We will find out more this week. But what we know is that in New York, an independent prosecutor found enough evidence to be able to bring to a grand jury made up of regular citizens who decided that there was enough to bring an indictment, right?
Yep.
And that's how our justice system works. That's how it works against any citizen of this country, and a former president is no different. And it sets, you're correct, the exact opposite and more dangerous precedent, right? We know through the years of Donald Trump and the investigations that have gone on about the way the Department of Justice sees and doesn't see bringing cases against presidents, and that's a whole nother sort of can of worms. But this notion, right, that there is some kind of mysticism in the office of the president or in the person of a former president who may have committed a crime has to be dispelled. Yep. We have a system of laws, and Donald Trump is not above them.
And that's why this last paragraph, public perception and political strategy shouldn't dissuade a district attorney from bringing a solid case, but neither should they persuade him to bring a shaky one. This prosecution needs to be airtight. Otherwise, it's not worth continuing. The Washington Post editorial board, folks, has no idea what the indictment is, has no idea what the evidence is. So how in the hell can you call something shaky and you don't even know what it is? William, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, gonna go to a break. We come back. We'll chat with my panel. Also, the media reaction. Do y'all I know I don't watch them as well, but I've been seeing the clips. If y'all want to see Comedy Central on Fox News, we're gonna show you some of the clips. These people have been absolutely losing their minds. Oh my goodness. The tears have been hilarious. That's next on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shooting.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
A lot of these corporations or people that are running stuff push black people if they're doing a certain thing. What that does is it creates a butterfly effect of any young kid who, you know, wants to leave any situation they're in, and the only people they see are people that are doing this. So I gotta be a gangster, I gotta shoot, I gotta sell, I gotta do this in order to do it. And it just becomes a cycle. But when someone comes around and is making other, oh, we don't, you know, they don't want to push it or put money into it. So that's definitely something I'm trying to fix too, is just show there's other avenues. You don't got to be a rapper, you don't got to be a ball player. You could be a country singer, you can be an opera singer, you can be a damn whatever, you know? Showing the different avenues, and that is possible, and it's hard for people to realize it's possible until someone does.
I'm Deion Cole, and you're watching
Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Stay woke.
Ooh, the tears that have been flowing in the last 24 hours has been absolutely hilarious. Here's Dan Bongino on Fox News. He is just beside himself, the former Secret Service agent turned crazed nut right-winger. Listen to Dan.
Hijack your show, but listen, you may have just handed Donald Trump the indictment. With the indictment along with probably the greatest Freudian slip ever. You handed him an indictment while handing him the nomination. At the same time, you may have just, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get out ahead of my skis. There's a lot of time here. But I can tell you everything he has said to people about they're not coming for you. They're coming for me because I'm in the way. Now you look at this tonight and you're like, yeah, that kind of sounds right to me. You're going to.
Oh, Lord. Y'all want to see a good one? How about this here? Poor little Lindsey Graham. Oh, my goodness, from South Carolina. He was just, I don't know whether it was allergies that was causing him to tear up, but go to my iPad for this one, y'all. This one is really funny.
Calls a unreliable dirtbag. So what's behind all this? Hatred. They tried to destroy Kavanaugh because they wanted to keep the Supreme Court seat open. They're trying to destroy Donald Trump because they fear him at the ballot box. To the conservatives out there, make sure you vote. If you got friends, make sure they vote. If you don't have any friends, go make some friends. But you need to help this man, Donald J. Trump. They're trying to drain him dry. He spent more money on lawyers than most people spend on campaigns. They're trying to bleed him dry. DonaldJTrump.com. Go tonight. Give the president some money to fight this bullshit. This is going to destroy America. We're going to fight back at the ballot box. We're not going to give in. How does this end, Sean? Trump wins in court, and he wins the election. That's how this ends.
Y'all, that was Lindsey Graham. Y'all want to see really stupid? Here is Jason Whitlock. Let me be real clear. Jason Whitlock don't know shit about politics, okay? He used to cover sports. Didn't do that well. Now all of a sudden he's a political, social, cultural commentator. He works for the racist Glenn Beck's The Blaze. That's all I need to say about this Steven from Django.
And then by the time I get home, I find out Donald Trump has been indicted, and I hear you loud and clear. They are agitating for unrest. That's the only way to interpret this. They are agitating for unrest, and there is a godless element in this country that doesn't care about fairness. They don't care about the will of the people. They care about power and control. As you have spelled out this week, they think they're God, and they don't think they can make up the rules. They can decide what fair.
Come back to me. That boy's so stupid. But I got to find the one, y'all, where he was. So check this one here out. This is Whitlock fighting back tears. Again, this is what we call astute political analysis, courtesy of Tucker Carlson and Fox News.
Point. Tucker, I don't say this with pride. I really don't. I'm just being factual. I've never voted. And so I'm not saying that with pride. I'm hardcore MAGA tonight. I will be voting. I am hardcore MAGA. I've never voted. I did, I observed Trump. I'm somewhat supportive of Trump, but they have made me MAGA. And they have made me ready for whatever is next, because what they are building for young people, I can't sit by and just.
Oh my Lord, we done made him MAGA. Boy, Alvin Bragg, you are one hell of a vote getter. By indicting Trump, you done made Jason Whitlock go vote. That's the best you can do, Tucker? That's who you could call on a huge story like this here? Dumbass Jason Whitlock? Craig Harrington is the research director for Media Matters for America, joins us right now. Craig, I'm telling you that I wanted to sit here and play. Who sang the song Tears for Fears? That should be the theme song on Fox News, because, boy, they are just beside themselves with this one. I thought this was a Law and Order network.
Yeah, we have a joke at Media Matters regarding how Trump will often tell the sir stories where someone comes up to him with tears in their eyes and they say, "Mr. Trump, sir, something, babbling." But last night on Fox, several of their hosts and commentators quite literally were struggling to fight back tears. And on at least one occasion, a guest actually admitted that they had cried earlier in the day, dealing with the news of Donald Trump's 5:30 p.m. Reported indictment. It was legitimately very funny to watch the network collapse really in real time.
Well, and they're just going crazy now. I mean, listen to nutcase Laura Ingraham, okay, now trying to equate a DA indicting Trump with election interference.
Self-proclaimed defenders of democracy, they've been proven themselves beyond any reasonable doubt to be total frauds. In fact, they've proven themselves to be the ultimate election meddlers, pursuing a specious criminal case against former President Trump for one reason and one reason only, because they're worried that he might win again. Now, when Biden claimed that he was...
Craig, didn't he lose last time?
Yeah, he lost last time without the publicity drag of being publicly indicted. There are lots of people in the right who are claiming, and lots of mainstream journalists who are also claiming, that the indictment is likely going to help Trump in the nomination fight in the Republican Party. But there was good polling from Quinnipiac just, I think, 2 days ago that said that the majority of the public did not want to vote for a president who was facing indictment. And anyone who watched the Hillary Clinton saga in 2016 knows that just the word indictment being attached to Hillary Clinton, who has never been indicted and never faced any criminal charges for any of the investigations that she spent 40 years fighting off from Republicans, just being associated with an FBI investigation, not even an actual indictment, was enough to turn off a significant chunk of the population and cost her the 2016 election and swing it toward Trump. There's no reasonable person who thinks that this is going to help Trump in the general election. It's plausible it could help him with the Republican base that he was already beginning to coalesce. But the idea that this is somehow election interference is really absurd when you think about it. It would be interference to not indict a criminal who committed crimes in public and admitted to doing them. He's quite literally a co-conspirator in a felony case that one of the co-conspirators has already gone to jail for and paid over $1 million in restitution and fines. If Donald Trump weren't indicted for being the man funding and organizing the conspiracy that sent Michael Cohen to federal prison, if he weren't indicted, that might be tantamount to election interference. But facing consequences for your criminal behavior, that's just what all of us have to deal with. This could be a speeding ticket, or it could be a Class A felony. He should face the same law and jurisprudence that everyone else does.
I'm just getting a kick out of the people who yell, lock up protesters and throw the key away. Now all of a sudden want to be soft on the crime. Then again, they did defend the people on January 6th. So this is on brand for Fox News, Greg.
Yeah, and this is something Media Matters has been tracking now for several years. Fox News has tried so hard to disassociate itself from the violence of January 6th and to excuse the violent behavior of the individuals who took part in that riot, that became an insurrection. But the fact of the matter is, they now are trying to sort of rebuild some of that and agitate some of that network, the January 6th energy that saw 50,000 people besiege the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021. The right-wing echo chamber, the Fox Newses of the world, the conservative talk radio, the podcasters and the YouTubers, they're now trying to find a way to access that network and bring some of that energy to bear so that they can, say, surround the Manhattan District Courthouse on Tuesday when Trump is brought to Manhattan to be arraigned, fingerprinted, photographed, and we'll all get what will become maybe the most famous mugshot in American history. But the right is having trouble sort of coalescing the energy that it brought to bear on January 6, 2021, because they've spent so long trying to blame other people for what happened on January 6th other than themselves. So many right-wingers are convinced that when their friends are reaching out to them and asking them, will you join me in this pro-Trump protest? So many of them are worried that that person is actually now working for the FBI and is potentially a plant trying to draw them into some sort of entrapment situation. That there's no evidence that that was the motivation for what actually happened on January 6th. But Fox has spent so much time and the right has spent so much time lying about what those events were that they've really undermined their own ability to organize their political muscle in the streets, which may be to the rest of our benefit as a society that's trying to exist with this violent sort of element that is present in the Republican Party. But for them, it's a real problem because after 3 years of misinformation and sitting on the fence and trying to play both sides of the January 6th insurrection, now Fox and the others in the right-wing media echo chamber, they need those people like out in the streets, and they really do want to find a way to defend their hero, Donald Trump. And they're having trouble doing it because of the lies that they've told over the past several years about their previous the way that their previous protest erupted into violence so publicly during the transition period.
All right, Craig Harrington, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your time.
This is absolute comedy hour, Kelly. I just sit here. I mean, I'm getting great joy out of watching them lose their minds.
I mean, the fact of the matter is they are going to lose their minds regardless because Trump, for the most part, is their God. This is their deity, and they really do worship him on the right. And it's sad because at the end of the day, not only do we not know what the indictment is for yet, he's not a president anymore. He's a private citizen, and private citizens can go to jail. Private citizens can get arrested. Private citizens have to follow the law, period. This is not a situation in which he is a sitting president where, constitutionally you can't be, I can't remember exact verbiage, but basically you can't be convicted while you are a sitting president. But he's not a sitting president anymore. He's basically relegated back to celebrity status, which means that you are a private citizen. So they can go after him for whatever, and it is completely fine. It is completely legit.
Right.
And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Michael, it's just, again, if you want to see hypocrites, just watch all of these people, because every time we turn around, they're yelling law and order. They're like doing right, follow the law, respect district attorneys, respect law enforcement, except when we don't like them.
Well, they also say comply. If you had just complied, everything would have been all right. They always say comply. Now, what's going to happen, Roland, and I've seen some of the senators commenting as well. I saw Lindsey Graham on Fox News begging last night for Fox News supporters to donate to the legal fund of a billionaire. Why does a billionaire need other people to pay his legal bills?
Because his ass not a billionaire?
Exactly. But this is going to happen, Roland. I'm waiting for one of these Republicans to get hemmed up. And the reporter's going to ask them, wait a second, if everything was the same, but the difference was it was Barack Obama instead of Donald Trump, you mean to tell me if they were indicted for document frauds, over 30 counts of document frauds, if they were indicted on the same thing, you would be here defending that as well? Because that's what's eventually going to happen. If this was reversed, and it was Barack Obama instead of Donald Trump, Republicans would be against they would be calling for the indictment of President Barack Obama. Remember, they damn near wanted to impeach him for wearing a tan suit during Easter. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is the chickens coming home to roost. I'm here for this. I'm here for this.
First of all, Tuesday, if he surrenders on Tuesday, Xavier, these people are about to lose it. But also, I can't wait till they actually unseal the indictment so we can actually see if it's 34 counts. And it's gonna be a lot of folk with egg on their face if this thing is bigger than Stormy Daniels.
It will be, but I think that the die is cast in the cult of Donald Trump. Whoever's going to support Donald Trump will continue to support him. They will find ways to cover that up. But what I haven't heard talked about in this whole piece about which talking about Van Jones, which case should be brought first, this particular prosecution and all the others show a course of conduct. Donald Trump was willing to violate finance laws, was willing to hush payments to win an election, showed he should have been in that place in the first place, and then goes along and then attends to what happened in Georgia in terms of trying to push to keep himself as president, and then eventually the insurrection that he potentially fomented. And so this course of conduct. So to say that this is a small thing when all the actions he's taken has shown, this is why you hold individuals like Donald Trump accountable, because they do become worse. They do show their true character. Like Jay-Z said, you was who you was before you got here. And Donald Trump showed he was who he was before he became president of the United States of America. And so we're going to just see more of this come along. And of course they're going to be upset. This is their God. They worship at his feet. This is the whole replacement theory politics they continue to press forward, and they need to be able to show so they can be able to continue to pour into the MAGA. But on Tuesday, Roland, are you going to pour out the black yak and have that on deck?
Oh, trust me. The black yak will be made available come Tuesday. Hold tight 1 second. We come back. We're going to talk to one of the exonerated 5. Remember when Donald Trump wanted them to get the death penalty? We'll chat with one when we come back. If y'all watching on YouTube, hit that like button, y'all. We should easily be over 1,000 likes. Also, hit the share and like button on our OTT app. Don't forget, support us by downloading the app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One. You can also, and Samsung Smart TV, support us as well. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Check in money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered, PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind $100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Coming up on the next Black Table, a conversation with Professor Howard W. French on his new book, Born in Blackness, covering 600 years of global African history and helping us understand how the world we know today is a gift from Black people.
There could have been no West without Africa and Africa.
That's on the next Black Table with me, Greg Carr, only on the Black Star Network. Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Table with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show, Get Wealthy, focuses on the things that your financial advisor and bank isn't telling you, but you absolutely need to know. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hey, I'm Donnie Simpson.
What's up? I'm Lance Gross, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, y'all, 1989, in Central Park 5 were arrested. Donald Trump took a full-page ad out saying these folks should get the death penalty. Well, now they're called the exonerated 5, and Yusef Salaam says, karma, ain't that something? He joins us right now from Harlem, New York. Yusef, glad to have you on the show. I take it, Yusef, when that perp walk happens, he likely will not be in handcuffs, but when he has to get fingerprinted and take that mug shot, you're going to be sitting here saying, ain't that grand?
Hey, listen, times like this, here we are 34 years later, almost 34 years later when we think about it. This ad that was ran in New York City's newspapers really was calling for our deaths. And I think that the intimidation tactics that we've heard about as it relates to Donald Trump sending out signals to Alvin Bragg, or to people to do something to Alvin Bragg, is really tragic, because the criminal justice system is there in order to ensure that justice is for all and not for some. But the way that it's wielded is that we've never received justice. And I'm talking about we as a people. In fact, I call it the criminal system of injustice, because it is alive and sick. It's operating exactly as it was designed in the minds of the people that created it. But at the same time, maybe, perhaps, as our good Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, the arc of the moral universe. We are here witnessing history, I think, and this is a very, very powerful time. But at the same time, I think if we get the opportunity to witness true justice, perhaps Yusef will start calling it the criminal justice system all over again.
Well, and the thing that, again, looking at all of his supporters, boy, they didn't have all that compassion for y'all.
No, they didn't. As a matter of fact, after Donald Trump ran this ad in New York City's newspapers, bring back the death penalty, bring back our police, this essentially put a bounty on our heads. And what happened as a result of this was folks like Pat Buchanan wrote in the papers a little while after that, well, why don't we just take the eldest one, Corey Wise, and hang him from a tree? This is the environment that we were living in back in 1989. This is the environment that we were not supposed to survive from. Had we survived prison, prison was supposed to be a death sentence for us. But had we survived prison, we were supposed to receive a social death from all involved, all of the whole population of America, in fact. Anywhere we went, we were supposed to be run out of there. And the beautiful thing about it now is that all of those lived experiences, everything that we have grown through, or everything that we have gone through, we have actually grown through in order to be able to show up at this very moment in time.
Well, it is just, again, amazing to watch all of this unfold. And I really do hope Fannie Willis down in Georgia drops an indictment against him as well, because the lesson should be, don't matter how much money you got, don't matter if you used to sit in the Oval Office. You do wrong, the justice system shall deal with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, the thing about it, too, and I love the fact that Alvin Bragg has gotten the opportunity to be the person who kickstarts this, right? You know, those of us who have had justice elude us, we have been so close to the pain. In fact, we have been in pain. Our families have been in pain. And the truth of the matter is that we need to now have seats at the table. And, you know, it occurred to me as I'm looking at these new opportunities that are opening up, specifically for me, that I need to groom myself to start running in the political process. And so one of the great things that I've done is that I've literally said, you know what, I want to run for city council here in New York City, not because it's politics or politics as usual, but because we need new righteous actors in all spheres of government, in all spheres of system issues, so that we can restore what should be in terms of what's going on right now. When you ask the average person, what do they think when they hear the words of the Constitution, we the people, they would tell you, I think they're talking about us. But black and brown people were considered 3/5 of a human being when that document was being ratified. Now we get the opportunity to fully participate. And the truth of the matter is that they really want us not to participate. They want us to literally stand by the wayside, to sit in the window of life while everyone else looks in the mirror. And it's our time now.
Well, Yusef, look, we will all be waiting and watching to see what happens. And maybe all of these people who are standing with Trump, maybe now they'll become supporters of criminal justice reform, and they'll be against mass incarceration. Maybe that'll happen. No, it's not going to happen. I appreciate it, man. Good seeing you.
Man, great seeing you too, brother.
All right, y'all, we come back. I got a couple more things to say about Fox News. And they lost a huge decision today in that Dominion lawsuit. Oh, I can't wait for that trial to start next month. I'll tell you what happened today that could cost them billions of dollars. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network, folks. Don't forget, support us in what we do. Hit the like button if you're on YouTube. Download our Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. You can also join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars make it possible for us to do what we do. Folks, it costs us $190,000 a month to run this show, to run the 5 shows on the Black Star Network. Our OTT app alone is $161,000. Folks, look, the money is real. You say this is what you want, but look, we have to pay for it. So your support, trust me, matters. And so send check and money orders to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandUnfiltered.com. Be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available at bookstores everywhere. Also order on Barnes & Noble, Amazon. Go to Target. You can also download your copy on Audible. And don't forget, we're now on Amazon News. If you go to Amazon Fire, go to Amazon News. You can pull up our 24-hour streaming channel as well. We'll be right back.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
On the next A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, Reentry Anxiety. A lot of us are having trouble transitioning in this post-pandemic society and don't even realize it. We are literally stuck between two worlds, in purgatory. How to get out of purgatory and regain your footing and balance.
What emotions they're feeling and being able to label them, because as soon as you label an emotion, it's easier to self-regulate. It's easier to manage that emotion.
On the next A Balanced Life on Black Star Network.
Yo, it's your man Deion Cole from Blackish, and you're watching
Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Stay woke.
All right, so you know Fox News is getting sued by Dominion because they allowed folks to come on their air and lie, and their hosts lied. The executives knew they were lying, and they try to claim it's the First Amendment. Well, guess what? They got their asses handed to them today in a Delaware court where the judge just went off on them. Xavier, check this out. The judge said, quote, "The evidence developed in this civil proceeding demonstrates that is all caps, boldface, crystal clear that none of the statements relating to Dominion about the 2020 election are true. The judge wrote this in his 81-page ruling. He is allowing this, and then he said, the court finds, as a matter of law, that the statements are either fact or mixed opinion. The statements were capable of being proven true, and in fact, the evidence that would prove the statements was discussed many times but never presented. This story says he also knocked Fox's neutral reporting claim, finding, quote, the evidence does not support that FNN conducted good faith, disinterested reporting. FNN's failure to reveal extensive contradicting evidence from the public sphere and Dominion itself indicates its reporting was not disinterested. Xavier, this is huge because Dominion is suing them for $1.6 billion. They have uncovered evidence where Suzanne Scott, the CEO of Fox News, literally said, stop the fact checkers from fact checking Trump's claims because our audience is getting as upset. It's bad for business. How about lying being bad for business? And you know what's gonna be bad for business? Getting smacked with $1 billion judgment. And in fact, the judge purposely did not limit the damages when this thing goes to trial next month. This could be a huge, huge blow to Fox News. And I'll be pouring out some black yak for that one too.
Yeah, pour it out. F around and find out is undefeated, Roland. I think that it's so interesting that the New York Times versus Sullivan case and being central in terms of protection of journalism and free speech and being able to report on matters. Fox News turning it completely on its head and being openly defamatory for profit and admitting that they were being defamatory for profit to please an audience, to feed them lies, and admit and openly having records to this. This will eventually lead to uncovering more evidence about how terrible Fox News has been. If anything, this presents the opportunity for Dominion to move for summary judgment in its favor against Fox News. Don't necessarily think that will happen per se, but this advances a very, very, very strong case against Fox News, puts them in a hell of a box, and they're in a hell of a trouble.
I mean, Michael, to sit here and look at the stuff that Dominion has revealed, where their own hosts say they're lying.
Right.
They've got text messages. They've got emails. They've got them in their own words. They got Rupert Murdoch admitting under deposition, yeah, we weren't telling the truth. And they're trying to use the First Amendment as cover for lying? Nah, that ain't how this works.
Yeah, this was all about ratings. They were afraid of losing Trump voters if they told the truth, and Trump voters will go somewhere else like OAN or some other medium. And it's even worse than that. What came out during the deposition is that they do have a fact-checking group, and they will go to the fact checkers to check claims that Trump and Trump acolytes were making, things like this, find out that they're false, but still put them on the air anyway. And that's documented as well. Okay, so hopefully this bankrupts Fox News. The other thing is that organizations like Color Change and other organizations, just like they went after Bill O'Reilly's advertisers, they and other organizations need to go after Fox News's advertisers again over this as well.
Here's the thing, Kelly, that I'm just getting a kick out of. So you were afraid that your viewers were going to flee and it was going to cost you money. Now this is going to cost you money.
A lot of money, $1.6 billion worth of money, which is a lot of money. And here's the thing, the contradictions between what people within Fox are saying, the rationale behind them doing this, and then what the statements are that they're putting out as to why they're doing this. So for example, I'm reading one of the statements that a Fox News person, a spokesperson for Fox News said, and they said, quote, "This case is and always has been about First Amendment and the protections of the media's absolute right to cover the news." And the fact of the matter is that what they did was exactly the opposite of what they're saying this case is about. They didn't deliver the news. They delivered propaganda. They delivered lies. They delivered ratings, but they did not deliver the news. And that's what the bottom line is here, because the truth is an absolute defense to a defamation case, and they do not have that on their side. They cannot use the truth as a defense in this case because all they did was lie.
Well, that is all what they did, and I'm telling y'all, this is going to be fascinating to watch unfold, and so this would be another great trial that we're going to be checking out. So I swear, between what's going to happen on Tuesday and then Fannie Willis and this here, it is going to absolutely be. They may end up. I might be so drunk. Pouring black yak out for these fools is gonna be crazy. But I'm watching all of it. All right, y'all, we gotta go to break. We come back, more Roland Martin Unfiltered. And we come back, y'all, and just for the hell of it, I gotta play y'all that other Steven from Django, Leo Terrell. I gotta show that fool with his red MAGA hat on Fox News. If y'all wanna see Stuck on Stupid, I'm just gonna play it just to laugh at his ass. So, I mean, that's what, I ain't got no other reason to play it, but I just gotta go ahead and laugh at this fool. All right, y'all, we'll be back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
A lot of these corporations or people that are running stuff push black people if they're doing a certain thing. What that does is it creates a butterfly effect of any young kid who, you know, wants to leave any situation they're in, and the only people they see are people that are doing this. So I gotta be a gangster, I gotta shoot, I gotta sell, I gotta do this in order to do it. And it just becomes a cycle. But when someone comes around and is making other, we don't, you know, they don't want to push it or put money into it. So that's definitely something I'm trying to fix too, is just show there's other avenues. You don't gotta be a rapper, you don't gotta be a ball player. You could be a country singer, you can be an opera singer, you can be a damn whatever, you know? Showing the different avenues, and that is possible, and it's hard for people to realize it's possible until someone does it.
Coming up on the next Black Table, a conversation with Professor Howard W. French on his new book, Born in Blackness, covering 600 years of global African history and helping us understand how the world we know today is a gift from Black people.
There could have been no West without Africa and Africa.
That's on the next Black Table with me, Greg Carr, only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm BB Winans.
Hey, I'm Donnie Simpson.
What's up? I'm Lance Gross, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
You know what, y'all? I really enjoy seeing unhinged, crazy, stupid people. Leo Terrell supposedly is a respected civil rights lawyer, but I don't know what the hell they slipped this fool. If y'all seen him on Fox News, he wearing MAGA hat. He went just saying crazy stuff. This is his fool last night with Sean Hannity. I just got to play it because he's crazy. Watch this, y'all.
I got news for you. Every ounce, every second of time I have, I'll donate. And I'll get news for you, Alvin Bragg. After we defeat this lawsuit, we're going to file a civil rights lawsuit against you for malicious prosecution.
Leo, Larry, thank you both for being.
I got news for you. Every ounce, every.
You actually think you're going to file a civil law? Yo, that boy's so stupid. Lord, I don't understand these people. But again, I just want to show y'all, just before I go to my next story, if y'all really want to see dumb, just watch this here. This is from today on the 5. Listen to this.
Alma mater.
I have a new rule. The more elite the university and advanced that a graduate is, the dumber they are. The less likely I am to trust them. If you went to the Ivy League, prove to me that you have any common sense at all.
You went Ivy League, right?
Yes, and I sent one of my degrees back for a alma mater.
Wow.
I have a new.
Wow. She said you went to an Ivy League, and we know how dumb he is. I just had to go ahead and just play that. I just want y'all to understand, those people are loons, and that's why you see the nutcases that you see. And so let me go ahead and say this right here. So again, I love all these black people who say, all Roland Martin want us to do black people vote is Democrat. No, I actually want you to vote for black interest. And Tuesday in Wisconsin, black interests are on the ballot. Now, y'all here have heard me on this show talk a lot about the importance of the U.S. Supreme Court and state Supreme Courts as well. And so in Wisconsin, in the last 20 plus years, Republicans have had a death grip on that state. They've controlled the legislature. You have a Democratic governor, and they've stripped him of his powers, a lot of his powers, because Republicans control there. Now, they've dominated the state Supreme Court. The reason the seats there are gerrymandered is because of the state Supreme Court. Well, on Tuesday, you have Janet Protasewicz, who's running against Daniel Kelly. Now, there are some other groups out there that have said Janet Protasewicz, she's not progressive enough. Let me explain something to y'all. Daniel Kelly, we had a previous guest. He went to the Christian Broadcast Network University. That dude right there. That dude had no judicial experience before Scott Walker put him on the state Supreme Court. If you're black in Wisconsin, you should be voting for the Democratic candidate, because that now changes the political nature of the Supreme Court. Now, people say, oh, it's nonpartisan. If you run as a Democrat or Republican, it's a political race. That's what it is. And so April 4th, Tuesday, is a huge, huge election there and remember, here's the other key. These are 10-year terms, y'all. Whoever wins Tuesday is there for the next 10 years. If you're there, if you're in Milwaukee, that was a 50,000 vote drop-off for the 2018 midterms, 2022 midterms. Black Milwaukee, y'all should be turning out for Janet to keep the Republicans from controlling the state Supreme Court. Joining me now is the executive director of Souls to the Polls, Wisconsin, Reverend Greg Lewis. And again, Reverend, this is not about, oh man, you want Democrats. I want somebody who is likely going to rule in the interest of black people and is not going to be the MAGA Republican Kelly.
That's for sure. I mean, this opportunity probably won't come for another 100 years. You know, the court now is 3-3, and depending on this election, it'll stay the same, or the balance of power will be switched greatly. We have to make sure that people just know there's an election. We've been so downtrodden, and suppression has been so good here in Wisconsin that people just don't even believe their votes count. But I tell them all the time, man, we don't have to march anymore. We don't have to riot. All we got to do is vote. That's a gut punch. And now we're on the march in cities all over the state, trying to make sure we let people know there's a vote and make sure they know what's at stake. Gerrymandering, drop boxes, election protection, all these things are on the slate.
And here's the other piece. Y'all do the math. This is 2023. It's a 10-year term. That means when there's the next U.S. Census and when the next legislative maps, the state maps and the federal congressional maps are going to be redrawn, the state Supreme Court is going to be the final arbiters of those maps. You would want a 4-3 Democratic majority and not for a Republican Supreme Court to rubber stamp those maps that have historically diluted black voting power.
And that's for sure. That's what the gerrymandering is. It's the maps. You know, they have drawn these maps So Democrats won't be able to win for the next 100 years if those maps stay the same. This is an opportunity to put someone in place who will do some fair mapping. And that's important. That's extremely important, because not only that, all these suppression laws that the Senate and the House in Wisconsin, all of them that came up, they all got vetoed by a Democratic governor. But if that court is in place and they're already trying to put in place a legislature that will have superpower, that means they'll have enough votes. So even if the governor would veto, they could override the veto. And if they have the court to back it up, that will be curtains for us. People need to understand, yeah, your vote counts. If your vote didn't count, why are so many important people trying to keep you from voting? 61 suppression rules, laws, legalized all over the country if there's not a Democratic governor in place to stop them. This is crazy, it's insane, it's unfair, and they don't care. And this scorched earth politics, it's got to stop, where they'll burn up anything. They'll just destroy everything just to stay in power. They're not even looking out for their own folks. These people are voting against their own self-interest. Come on, people, wake up.
Greg, didn't this Republican Supreme Court also outlaw ballot drop boxes?
Yeah, drop boxes. And not only that, Mr. Martin, they outlawed the drop boxes, but not only that, they passed laws that it was illegal for you to help the elderly, for you to help those with disabilities get their absentee ballots to the poll. And one of the persons who was supposed to take care of elections from the Wisconsin Election Commission was in a paper saying that didn't we do a good job suppressing the black and brown vote?
Yep.
Come on, man. It's right in your face. Man, come on. This ain't checkers. This is chess. And now it's not even chess. It's checkers for them. They don't even care if you know they're trying to suppress you. They're doing it right in your face. Stop taking this mess. Now, we got to stop letting people do things to us, and we got to start making sure that they do things for us. And that vote is the only way we're going to really correct some of the damage that's been done in this state to black, brown, and poor people.
So, Greg,
April 4th.
When is the last day of early voting in Wisconsin?
It's going to be tomorrow, April 1st. So the vote is April 4th, the last time you can vote.
So if you're in Wisconsin, you can vote early. Tomorrow's the last day, and then it's Tuesday. So it's a matter of getting everybody out to vote tomorrow and the turnout Tuesday. That's what's critical. Greg, we appreciate the work that y'all are doing there. Hopefully black folks there in Milwaukee are paying attention, listening. We're going to be pushing this out as well. We'll be pushing it out on social media because the reality is here. If black people in Milwaukee had turned out in November, there would be a black United States senator. Now, let me be clear. His campaign didn't do what the hell they were supposed to do. But the reality is he lost by 26,000 votes. 50,000 people in Milwaukee voted, 50,000 fewer voted in 2022 than they did in 2018. The state Supreme Court positions matter. So, Reverend Lewis, keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. You do the same.
Thanks a lot. This is important, Michael, because we see what happened in Michigan, where you are. When the Michigan Supreme Court, when the composition changed, when all of those lawsuits came down, the Supreme Court was the final arbiter saying, nope, the abortion issue can be on the ballot. Nope, you got to move forward with the redistricting committee. All of those issues, state Supreme Courts are hugely important. And unlike the U.S. Supreme Court, states are elected.
Yes. So this is a piece, Roland, that a lot of people don't seem to understand. And they'll just focus on maybe governor or mayor or something like this. Well, when you have issues dealing with law, whether it's business cases, whether it's dealing with cases dealing with what can be on the ballot, things like this, that goes to your state Supreme Court. Okay, so that's why it's important to not just vote for governor, not just vote for mayor, not just for maybe for those popular positions, but to understand the judicial branch of the government, because they rule on legislation from the legislative branch of the government, your state House of Representatives, your state Senate, but also on executive orders as well. It's so many things that they rule on that impact our lives. So state Supreme Court is extremely important. This is why Republicans fight so hard, right, to get their people into those positions.
See, Kelly, again, I see all these people. I just did interviews with the Breakfast Club, Ebro in the Morning, Vlad TV, and these fools. All Roland Martin want us to do is vote Democrat. This real simple. Dan, the non-judicial experience MAGA Republican, is running. Janet, the Democrat judicial experience person, is running. One of those two are gonna win. Mm-hmm. This ain't hard, Kelly. You got Janet, the Democrat, Dan, the Republican. Dan supports voter suppression. Janet don't. Dan will vote to get rid of ballot drop boxes. Janet won't. I'm trying to understand why this shit's so hard.
Because they see titles and not policy. I mean, that's really the crux of it all. The fact of the matter is, if Republicans had Black interests at heart and not talking about the Black people who have white people's interests at heart, but truly Black Americans in this country, what our interests are, freedom to vote properly, criminal justice system that doesn't see color, a plethora of things that we need in this country for equity, and not just equality, but true equity in this country. If Republicans were about that and not just these dog whistles of wokeness, then yeah, we would be voting on that side of things. If this were a truly freer country in which we would have more than two parties to choose from, I'm sure that we would go with the party that have our interests at heart. But at the moment, right now, Democrats, or progressives rather, have, for the most part, Black people's interests at heart in this country. So that is, logic follows, that's who you should be voting for, the people who would be helping you out in the long run, not just for the sake of saying, oh, I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican. I am Black first. I'm a Black woman first. Who has my interests at heart? Right now, it's the left wing. If the right wing gets their act together and has some things on the table that have my interest more than the left wing, then I'm a shift over. But right now, that's not the case. Right now, they are against my interests. They are against my personhood. They are against my Blackness. So I'm not going to vote for them. So that is the fact of it all.
Xavier, it is real simple. Not one time have I said Democrats are perfect, that, oh, they're just so amazing and grand. I'm just not dumb. I'm looking at this thing and saying, this person, that person. Let me look at who is Dan Kelly going to side with. Dan Kelly is going to side with all MAGA bills that come out of the legislature. Is MAGA interested in Black people? Hell no. So I got two choices. That's all I got. I got Dan, Janet, Dan. Ain't no mystical third candidate in the ether floating around who I can vote for. So I don't care who you are. All you simple Simon asses who sit here and y'all post your dumbass comments, okay, who know nothing, and y'all go, oh, they cut from the same cloth. Well, guess what? Your ass want a clean cloth or a dirty cloth? Because I know somebody don't want to give you a cloth. This is not that hard. And then I had some fool, Xavier. This probably was the best one. This dumbass literally posted publicly, I ain't voting till they get rid of the Electoral College. I replied, Dumbass. You can't get rid of the Electoral College unless you vote for the people to do so. Because the Electoral College has to be gotten rid of by Congress, signed into law by the president. Then, because it's constitutional, it has to be ratified by the states, 2/3 of the states. So, dumbass, if you don't vote, you will never get rid of the Electoral College, because that's who votes on the Electoral College. They drive me crazy in not understanding politics. So in Wisconsin, whoever wins on Tuesday, if Dan wins, MAGA Republicans control the state Supreme Court. He's there for 10 years. If the Democrat Janet wins, Democrats control state Supreme Court for the next 10 years. Oh, by the way, when Democrats control the North Carolina Supreme Court, they ruled against voter ID, they ruled against racial gerrymandering, but because a lot of us didn't vote, who now has a 4-3 majority on the Supreme Court, North Carolina? Republicans. This ain't hard, Xavier.
Non-participatory politics is definitely a demonstration of ignorance of the process. And you started out this particular segment showing someone with an Ivy League education saying that having an Ivy League education makes someone stupid. And what that does is play to our modern society that now seems to elevate stupidity, seems to elevate a hot take over a genuine inquiry and curiosity, and how to actually unpack issues in a smart and intellectual way. This promotion of foolery. When you decide to not vote, you do vote. Whatever candidate wins in Wisconsin, if you did not vote, you essentially have cast a vote for that person. Whoever wins, I'm okay with it. And that's what your non-vote says. And this lesser of two evils thought process that many of us, African Americans, take is a nihilistic approach. You have to be civically engaged to be able to change the structure of your democracy. You cannot, as a Black person, just take whatever you're given. That's not how we got here, and that's not how we're going to get for future progress in this country. You cannot sit back and let things happen to you. The people that Roland has invited on this show are to inform you to become a informed voter, to become a more informed citizen. Take the information that you're given and do something constructive with it, not participate and just say whoever wins, okay, well, one of them is going to be bad anyway. That's a really ignorant and foolish and low vibrational way of thinking about participatory democracies.
All right, folks, gotta go to a break. When we come back, Vice President Harris continues her tour of Africa. We'll tell you what happened in Tanzania. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network. When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us.
We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Your money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is roland@rolandsmartin.com.
Pull up a chair. Take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
What's up, y'all? I'm Will Packer.
I'm Chrisette Michelle.
Hi, I'm Chaley Rose, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, Vice President Kamala Harris is wrapping up her week-long tour to Africa, the diplomatic mission, folks. So she was in Tanzania and went to Zambia. Zambia is the last stop of her continental tour, making Harris the second top U.S. official to see Zambia in a few months following a visit from Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen in January. Now, Harris, who visited Zambia as a child, her grandfather lived there, received a warm welcome from local girls she inspired to achieve greatness. She reiterated calls for speedy finalization of Zambia's debt restructuring, accusing China, the primary creditor to many African nations, of dragging its feet after Lusaka sought help with its debt through a G20 mechanism. Harris and Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema held a joint press conference to discuss the U.S. efforts to deepen its engagement with the continent to counter the growing influence of China and Russia.
What is the United States doing specifically to push China on restructuring the debt with Zambia? And what is the United States' responsibility here, given that some of the debt is held by companies like BlackRock in the United States?
First point, I'll reiterate my the point I made earlier. We are continuing to reiterate our call for all bilateral official creditors to provide meaningful debt reduction to Zambia. And that includes the calls that we were making in the context of the IMF, that be done. But let me be clear, our presence here is not about China. It's about an independent understanding of the intertwined histories of our nations and our mutual commitment to democratic principles, and a recognition and understanding of what it means to engage in smart investments in the potential for the future of the entire globe. I will reiterate, when we look at the talent, the innovation, the ingenuity that is taking place in countries like Zambia, when we look at the partnerships that we've already embarked on, many of which are public-private partnerships, private investment spurred or brought together by what we can do as the United States government, we're seeing incredible return on the investment, both in terms of the investment in human capacity as well as the investment of resources. So the work we are doing here is the work that we believe and is designed to benefit the people.
Yes. What is the United States doing?
All right, y'all. So VP Harris, former Attorney General of California and former DA in San Francisco, was also asked about Donald Trump's indictment.
Madam Vice President, you've spoken about democracy and the rule of law at every stop in Africa. Given that, what is your comment on former President Donald Trump's indictment, and are you worried that his calls for protest could lead to a recurrence of the violence similar to that of January 6th?
I am not going to comment on an ongoing criminal case as it relates to the former president.
And for President Hichilema, what does Trump's indictment tell you about the example that the United States sets in terms of rule of law?
Vice President, we have a scenario now when we fight against corruption, which is taking away resources from children and the sick. Sometimes names are thrown into it and perceptions are created that are totally inappropriate, because transgressions against the law, if you take what belongs to the public, you have offended the law, and the name does not matter. That is my answer. Thank you.
Vice President also visited the home where her grandfather lived there. Let's roll the video. This, of course, she spent about a month there with her grandfather when he worked in the country when she was a child. She previously traveled, like I said, she previously traveled to Ghana and Tanzania, and so that was some of the time she took with her trip there. So pretty good tour. That's a photo there of her with her grandfather as a child, and so good. Great trip there for the Vice President. All right, y'all. Got to pay some bills when we come back. More Roland Martin Unfiltered, the Black Star Network. We'll talk with a young lady who is the first neurosurgeon resident at Vanderbilt. That's next in our Education Matters segment. Don't forget, download our app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Also, of course, watch us on Amazon News. If you go to Amazon Fire, click Amazon News, and you can check out our network right there. And also, if you have Alexa, you can say, Alexa, play news from Black Star Network. The audio will be playing as well. Don't forget, support us as well. Support us. Send your check and money orders. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Ben Bella Books, Bookshop, Amazon, Chapters, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, IndieBound, Target. You can download your copy as well on Audible. And of course, if you're watching there, Henry, give me this camera right here. If you're watching, y'all see that little QR code in the bottom corner right there? So if you look right there, actually, go back. Pull up the graphic, please. That little QR code, bottom left-hand corner. Point your phone to the QR code. It'll take you right there to purchase the book. We make it easier for you. Be right back.
We're all impacted by the culture, whether we know it or not. From politics to music and entertainment, it's a huge part of our lives, and we're going to talk about it every day right here on The Culture with me, Faraji Muhammad, only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show, Get Wealthy, focuses on the things that your financial advisor and bank isn't telling you, but you absolutely need to know. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hey, I'm Deion Cole from Blackest.
What's up? I'm Lance Gross, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Florida A&M University graduate becomes the first neurosurgeon resident at Vanderbilt University program. She's the first black woman resident in 148 years. Of course, they opened in 1874. Joining us now is Tamaya Potter. She matched for a spot in the neurosurgery position at the University's Medical Center in Nashville. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
So it's not like it's a lot of us going to neurosurgeon anyway, but wow, the first one?
Yes, thank you.
So what were your, so was this your first choice? And when you found out you were the first one, did you know that before you applied?
No, I didn't. It's one of those things to where you kind of think about it after the fact. You know, I knew that there weren't that many African-American people who did train at Vanderbilt, so I did have to ask my program director, but it was my first choice.
Gotcha. And so the news is sort of spread, and so what has your life been like since?
Very hectic. I do interviews almost every day. I'm on the news almost every day. But honestly, I love every minute of it because I know that more black and brown kids get to see someone like me and know that this dream is possible.
All right, so how did you settle on neurosurgery?
Well, my mom is a nurse, and so she's also a nurse educator, and I used to go around with her. And, one of the things that I really liked was the brain. I liked the way people thought. I liked the way, it helped people move. And so I decided that those were the patients that I wanted to take care of.
Were you one of the folks growing up who's found Ben Carson as a mentor or somebody you looked up to?
Yes, absolutely. Knowing that he was able to separate the first conjoined twins was absolutely amazing.
Gotcha. And so, how many other? First of all, when you talk about where you go to Florida A&M, any other folks who were in your class who also chose to be neurosurgeons?
No, it's just me.
Wow, just you. Lonely existence.
Yes.
Questions from the panel. Kelly, you first.
First and foremost, congratulations. I'm so excited for you. And, HBCU love over here. Like, I'm incredibly proud. Have you, I know everything's really new and fresh for you, but have you thought about what you want to do within neurosurgery? I know there are niches even within that niche. What are you thinking about doing with this? Just tell us your thoughts and your plans.
I'm definitely a spine type of girl. I really like spine procedures, spinal deformity. So I think that would be the subspecialty that I want to specialize in.
Cool. Xavier.
Well, congratulations to you for making history. And you are inspiring other young Black girls and young Black boys to follow your footsteps. So congratulations to you. Many blessings upon your path. My question to you, because I talk a lot about sports, what do you think about the future of brain science as relates to sports medicine? In terms of maybe diagnosing concussions sooner or more thoroughly, and also and some of the issues concerning how athletes can conduct themselves after finished playing when there are other injuries that could potentially be present. Do you see yourself having any interest in that area?
Absolutely. So I know that there are a lot of technologies being made right now that can really see if patients can have a concussion on the field. I know football is one of the most, I would have to say, one of the most pressing sports where you do see a lot of concussions. And I know that there are a lot of technologies such as mouth guards or also in the helmets where they can look at the speed at which a player was hit and see if they're at risk for a concussion. So there are technologies out there that are willing to do that. For myself, definitely when it comes to spine and spinal trauma, I know there are a lot of sports where patients can have those issues. So I think there's definitely a role for that there.
All right, Michael.
All right, congratulations, Dr. Tamia Potter. So can you talk about why African-American female neurosurgeons, why there's such a lack of them? What's behind that, as well as African-American male neurosurgeons as well?
Yeah, I think it's just a very large systemic issue. You have to think about the number of people going into medicine in general. The amount of people who are even applying neurosurgery as African-American people is such a low number because of the stigma that's around neurosurgery. Yes, it is a very competitive field. Yes, it requires a lot of sacrifice. But sometimes, even along my journey, it can be very discouraging. Not a lot of people pushing through that and going at almost at every step of the way. Tell you that you should have did something else, or you're not going to see your family because you decide to do neurosurgery. So I think there has to be more representation as well as more access to resources. So going to the high schools, going to the colleges, exposing neurosurgery to people at a younger age so they realize that this is possible.
All right, thank you.
And beyond neurosurgery, we still have a severe shortage of Black doctors in this country.
Yes, absolutely. There is a definite severe shortage, and we have to do something about that.
And you said your mother's a nurse, and what we're also seeing right now with a lot of people retiring, there's a massive shortage of nurses in the United States.
Yes, there is.
And so let's say there's somebody out there who says, okay, that neurosurgery stuff is way too much. Nursing is a practical area, and again, with the number of available jobs, that actually is one of the growth areas in the medical profession.
Yeah, it is. As long as you have nurse practitioners, physician assistants, registered nurses, LPNs, CNAs, there are so many different avenues that people can take to get into medicine that don't require you, becoming a doctor. And I think that the problem is that is not being exposed to people whenever they're in college or in high school, that these are actual career options.
All right. So let's talk this here. So you're going from Florida A&M to Vanderbilt, HBCU to a PWI, but you also have the benefit where Vanderbilt is. You got Meharry, you got Fisk, you got other areas there in Tennessee State. So at least you got some good places to hang out.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
With the little time you will have.
Yes, I'm just really excited to get back down to the South. Being in Cleveland, going to Case Medical School these last 5 years, I'm just so excited to be back in the South, to be around HBCUs. And that's one of the reasons why I chose Vanderbilt, is because they do have an alliance and a partnership with Meharry. And so I will be able to work with HBCU students and also try to get them to where they need to go.
All right, then. Well, certainly, congratulations on that. Good luck with it. And hopefully you won't have to deal with a lot of the crazies down there, because then again, you say, keep acting the fool, I might be the one operating on you.
Right.
All right. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I must say, when you talk about, that field, it is interesting. Again, just so few of us, which is also why Black medical schools are important. Now, Morgan State is actually starting one. Xavier is also starting one as well, Kelly.
I mean, it's incredible. I think that we need more Black doctors, especially now that we are learning how to be more proactive patients, right? So we have the stats out there that talk about how Black women aren't being listened to in medical spaces and as a patient. And when you have a Black doctor of any kind, the likelihood of you surviving whatever you went to the hospital for increases. So you having more Black people in the field is advantageous to everyone involved. And the fact that more HBCUs are coming to the forefront to produce said Black doctors, I just think it's incredible.
Xavier?
You've spent your show, Roland, talking about the law, leading off of the Black attorney, DA, Alvin Bragg, and with this young medical resident. Both fields are the two least diverse fields in the professions. Both have less than 5% of Black lawyers, less than 5% Black doctors, both sitting around 2.5% of Black women doctors. So it's important to have her on your show. So we need more Black people in the law so that people like Donald Trump can be held accountable. And we need more Black surgeons in the field to make sure more Black people survive. It's really that simple.
Michael?
Yeah, it's extremely important, Roland, and one of the things that has to be combated is racial bias when it comes to the views that doctors have. You still have medical students, you still have doctors who believe that African Americans can tolerate more pain than white people. This is a bias that goes back to slavery. You still have, when we deal with more African American women dying during childbirth or as a result of childbirth. There's almost 4 times as much as white women, and ignoring the needs of African American women when they tell you something is wrong. So you still have this bias that takes place within medicine. So we need more culturally competent African American doctors to combat this and give us better outcomes.
All right, you're absolutely correct. All right, I got to go to a break. We come back. A white social media influencer, his punk ass about to go to jail for sitting here lying to Black folks on social media about voting. Wait till I tell you what the latest Department of Justice guilty verdict. Yeah, it's a pretty good one. That and some other news when we come back. Don't forget, download the app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to give to our show. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20033. 877-0196. Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal are Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com. Roland@RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Also get my copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Download your copy on Audible. Order on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, from Target. And don't forget, you can watch us on Amazon News via Amazon Fire TV. Go to Amazon Fire, click Amazon News. You can watch our 24-hour streaming channel right there. We'll be right back.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shooting.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Kim Burrell.
Hi, I'm Carl Payne.
Hey, everybody, this is Sherry Shepherd. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
I keep telling y'all, leave black people alone. Well, this white social media cat, he done learned his lesson. Douglas Mackey, y'all, has been convicted, that's right, of election interference in the 2016 presidential election. This is a press release from the Department of Justice, or the U.S. Attorney's Office, Eastern District. Douglas Mackey, also known as Ricky Vaughn, was convicted today by a federal jury in Brooklyn for conspiracy against rights stemming from his scheme to deprive individuals of the constitutional right to vote. It was a one-week trial there. He faces a maximum of 10 years in prison. The quote here, Mackey has been found guilty by a jury of his peers of attempting to deprive individuals from exercising their sacred right to vote for the candidate of their choice in the 2016 presidential election. According to the Department of Justice, in 2016, Mackey established an audience on Twitter, approximately 58,000 folks. And what he did was, He was actually pushing out information, encouraging supporters of Hillary Clinton to vote via text message on social media when, of course, that didn't exist. He also was sending out tweets suggesting the importance of limiting black turnout as well. He ran ads such as defendant tweeted an image depicting an African-American woman standing in front of an African-Americans for Hillary sign. The ad stated, "Avoid the line, vote from home." I had a text number as well. He also pushed out a phone number where people can vote as well. Well, his ass, Michael, is now going to prison.
And good, and there's going to be some brothers waiting on his ass when he gets to prison too. See, these people mess around and find out. You're going to get a record. You're going to go to prison. You're going to be caught. And this is in the tradition of the Department of Justice that was founded in 1870 during Reconstruction, largely to enforce the new rights of African Americans, especially voting rights, and go after those suppressing the vote, like the Ku Klux Klan. Because the next year, the Ku Klux Klan Act was passed, and that's still on the books, and that's being used in civil lawsuits against Donald Trump and his cronies as well for interfering with the January 6th certification of the Electoral College votes. So these people, once again, this is chickens coming home to roost. This is when you follow a cult leader, a death cult leader like Donald Trump. You messed around and found out. Brothers are waiting on your ass in prison.
Well, and I ain't got no sympathy for Lil Ricky, Kelly.
I don't think anybody should. What he did was stupid, it was dumb, and it was really quite politically violent to deprive people who want to do the right thing and exercise their right to vote by putting out false information. And in this age where information is coming at you from all different directions by way of all the media out there, and it's unfortunately hard to decipher what's real and what's not. And you had people who fell victim to that. And I have no sympathy for those who took advantage of those people. We have the right to vote. We want to exercise our right to vote. And these people who fell victim to this man were trying to do the right thing and were sadly misinformed. So he needs to pay the price for that.
Xavier, I guess Ricky, since he spent so much time on social media, he missed this video.
We're going to talk about how we can find out and how much we can find out and what it takes to get there. So first we have to decide how much do we want to find out. So let's say in this case, I want to find out at a level of 7.
You should set up a 4-box with him and the 3
level
panelists.
On my graph, and I come horizontally to my gradient line. Where it intersects with my gradient line, I'm going to come straight down to where it intersects with my fuck around line. Now there's going to tell me how much I have to fuck around to find out what I need to find out. See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out. And also, if you stay down here and you never fuck around, you'll never find out. So I hope this lesson is helpful. Thank you. All right, today we're going to talk about...
Xavier?
Thousands of average Americans should have learned this lesson. Donald Trump is now finding out that lesson now. But many of the cult have been willing to lie, go to jail, scam, scheme, ruin their lives for this man. Donald Trump is not going to come visit you in jail, dog. You go really find out in a little while what it's like to be in jail. And so many people treat this man as their savior. But when it's time to be saved, his ass ain't nowhere to be found. And he might be found out exactly where you are too, young man.
Well, I'm just saying, you go ahead and act a fool. These are the things that are going to happen. So that's it. All right, y'all. Tomorrow here in the DMV, Bowie State University, they're going to be honoring the great Dionne Warwick tomorrow. They're unveiling, they're naming the theater after Dionne Warwick. It's taking place at 11 a.m. tomorrow. The Fine and Performing Arts Center on the campus of Bowie State. She will be in attendance as well. We'll be live streaming that unveiling on the Black Star Network. That's it. Xavier, Michael, as well as Kelly, thanks a lot. Kelly, yeah, we know you smiling because you went to Bowie State. Yeah, we know. All right, so we appreciate that. Thanks for being on the panel. I'll see y'all guys on Monday. Y'all be sure to have a great weekend. Don't forget to support us in what we do. Download our app. Give to the Bring the Funk Fund. Go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com or BlackStarNetwork.com. All the information is there. Y'all can check it out as always on Friday. We always show the people who have contributed to our show. Show all of our donors. If you want to become one of those donors, first of all, if you want to become one of those donors, you can give. Send a check and money order, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. If you do not see your name on the list, simply send us an email and we will check to see if you actually gave. And then we will, of course, add your name to the list as well. Don't forget also download the Black Star Network app. Why are we starting that so early? Download the Black Star Network app, y'all. Of course, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Folks, I'll see y'all on Monday. Holla!